Hi guys, welcome back. So today's video is kind of a conversation and then kind of a lesson in how to build upon your spirit and grow. Okay. So first, I just want to start with saying that community should, all communities should take note that survival now depends on cooperation. And there really need not be any losers in this game of life that we're playing right now between the good and the evil and knowing thyself and etc. Um, Everyone has free will and everyone has the choice to learn and grow. Okay. So I have notes in front of me from books that I'm starting to write, and I just want to share that with you. So we are truly living in a world, thanks to technology, that advances us, and it's being exercised through many mediums that we know of as internet, email, cell phones, etc. Unfortunately, many of us that are living in this new world um, experience are still being guided in their thinking by the old world. They're still being guided in their thinking by that old paradigm. However, it may not be entirely perceptual or perceptible. This Mercury retrograde has got me, guys. I apologize. But this latter guidance is losing its influence, finally, thankfully. So the results of repeated efforts to bend wills to comply with other people's wishes is now failing and falling apart in almost a predictable pattern. As always, the spirit awaits patiently within to offer its clear guidance for an individual or social evolution. This is where we find ourselves now within the Great Awakening. This is the greatest of individual and social evolution to experience. Like, this is what the fuss is all about, guys. This is the reason for being here right now. This is why it's so great. So the following are some lessons that are designed to allow the rediscovery of this most wondrous gift at a time when human consciousness is truly ready for that quantum leap forward. And it all begins with the self, with self-understanding. There are many admonitions throughout our religious writings that give us clues to our ultimate potential. One of these is to know thyself, know thy inner self. This suggests that true knowing can only come from when we are able to go within ourselves and tap that source of universal knowledge and guidance that waits to share itself with our conscious mind. Today, in our society, many of us feel like we are in a perpetual state of scramble. The hustle and bustle, the 9 to 5, always on the go, creating activities to fill the gaps of our empty lives or addictions. We even insist that our children follow by example, to the point that the playful portion of our early child's lives, the imaginative and creative portion, is being almost intentionally eliminated with extracurricular activities, constant homework up to the point of bedtime at night, long school days, long school years, etc., which is one of the reasons that I homeschool, because I want to encourage my children to still remember and know what it's like to be a child, to play, to run, to create, to imagine, to free their mind to think for themselves. So against this, there will certainly be an inner driven revolt. If these lessons sound a bit esoteric and abstract, think about it this way. Humans have achieved tremendous technological creativity with global marketplaces for the exchange of goods and information. What if perhaps some inventor developed an incredible new machine that could communicate directly with the creator, that could give moment to moment advice on how to act to create the most pleasurable and fulfilling existence possible, your highest joy. A machine to accomplish great learning, a machine that could enhance your physical and your mental health, as well as provide enlightened guidance for the development of the evolved civilizations. A machine that could ultimately achieve world peace and end world hunger. Like most of our technological toys, we invent them, manufacture them, acquire them, improve upon them, and ultimately discard them when the fad has run its course. There's always something newer and hotter on the market, right? Got to keep up with your iPhones, your Windows, you know. Excuse me. This pattern is an example of our innate inability to sustain true interest in those things which come to us from the outside world, be they gadgets, information, or even belief systems. Even a machine with which we talk directly with God would eventually become passé, unless, of course, it was our personal creation, our baby, and we were charged with the responsibility of maintaining it. If such a machine were advertised, most humans would be quite dubious indeed. They might scoff at it and think that such a thing might be too good to be true. Or if it were, that it would come at a price that most could not afford to pay. It would become an accoutrement of only the rich and the famous. It would also challenge many cherished religious and scientific beliefs about man's place. Powerless within a vengeful, meaningless, or chaotic universe. They might immediately resist and reject such a possibility, driven by their beliefs alone. Beliefs are like a door to our mind. They usually remain closed to outside influences and new possibilities. Some even remain securely bolted. Although we do have the keys to open these doors, when we choose to use them, it is mostly to go out and obtain the material necessities of life, and then to retreat back behind them just as quickly as we came out. We invite select portions of the world into our dwelling place of belief systems, but only when these portions are in alignment with said belief systems. Ideas and people who disturb our self-designed tranquility are seldom invited back. Yet it is these experiences that can have the most impact on our growth, even if it requires unbuilding a resistance to them. And they would be dead wrong, for not only does this machine exist, It already belongs to each and every human being on this planet. And I won't say that it didn't cost you a thing, because how long have you been alive and you weren't aware you have it? How long have you suffered? How long have you went without living your highest joy and your highest good? So it did come with a price, but it's a price you've already paid. It is the supreme human gift, and it is free for the taking. Regardless of whatever human station or culture or financial profile, it can be immediately activated to begin providing all of those services and so much more. This machine will be the great equalizer and unifier for the entire world, for it will allow the meek to inherit the earth. Those that begin immediate activation of this force are the pioneers of human consciousness. Isn't it amazing that such a statement can even be said? That it could be, and yet it can be considered some of the most dangerous words of our time. Established institutions across the land should quake at the possibilities that are suggested here. Collective mindsets should seek the source of this material and destroy it before it destroys them. But guess what? Too late. Because it's already out and about, and it can't be put back into the bottle. Of course, this machine is the communicative feedback system of the human feeling. It's the understanding of the sixth sense, the spiritual sense. It's the creator's innate word and judgment regarding human survival, human connection, and purpose, as well as moment-to-moment guidance in human interaction. It can make the difference between resistant, painful suffering, competition, and basic survival, and joyful acceptance, cooperation, and spiritual fulfillment. It should be received and valued as if it had been purchased for millions upon millions of dollars. It should be celebrated. It should be cherished. It should be guarded. And it should be used. Alas, in our society, we too often value things on the basis of the price tag, when in fact our potential as human beings is completely priceless. I've even found in my own experience with trying to share this knowledge, I built a website to offer this knowledge, to teach these tools of wisdom that we all can obtain and use. I offered it for free, and not many people responded. I was told, put a price tag on it. People don't value things that are free. How crazy is that? Everyone wants to bitch and complain that knowledge should be free and that they can't afford the expensive seminars and the expensive books and so on and so forth. And then someone like me comes along and offers it for free, and no one will still participate, or very few rather. Very few, considering how many people need to learn this. I want to pause right there and add to that. I have a paper here somewhere. Here it is. I said very few people already know this. So let's just look at that in numbers, right? In perspective of numbers. There are 8 billion people on the planet. There are 144,000 light workers. on this planet currently. There are 7 million lights, starseeds, indigo, volunteers, whatever you want to call them. 4,400 of the people on our planet know exactly what I'm telling you and keep it hidden. And at the same time, are in public view, lying to the masses, getting you to follow them and listen to them and trust them, and they're not telling you who you are. They don't want you to know. And I've reached out to some of these more important people in the public eye, kind of important. And they have shunned me because I want to give you this knowledge and I want to do it for free. I'm not profitable, so neither is my knowledge and my wisdom of how to truly unshackle the masses and teach them how to know thyself. That's messed up. 4,400 are wolves in sheep's clothing. And many of you watching my video, you watch theirs. You follow them. Okay, back to this. So even the least educated among us are more sophisticated than the best computer that's ever been made. And that's a fact. Because you don't need a school education to be a master at knowing yourself and using your psi abilities, your sixth sense abilities. So I'm going to repeat that again. Even the least educated among us is more sophisticated than the very best computers that are made today, as none of the latter are capable of the quality of free will or creating their own reality. Unfortunately, we sometimes treat our machines with more care and more respect than our fellow human being. In some cases, we make a virtue out of killing our fellow human beings with our most sophisticated machines. Aren't we a strange, odd bunch? So these lessons, for the first time in human history, have offered a definitive portrait of human nature, a portrait that is universal among all humans, regardless of the diverse cultures that now exist. This machine belongs to everyone. The feelings whisper the highest truth of human nature and purpose. This gives a whole new meaning to the concept of democracy. We truly are all equal and valuable to ourselves and to one another. Anyone has the capability to achieve any higher spiritual state from wherever they are at any moment. The key lies in making the connection with the divine nature of our being. Now is the time to activate this machine. This is the Great Awakening. Now is the time to attune to the spiritual directive. Now is the time to begin the experience of true humanity, to begin anew with a full, comprehensive comprehension of what it means and how it works to be human. No more guesses, no more assumptions of evil, no more need for external control. None of this is or ever has been necessary. We can eliminate the evil. Whether it's an alien or a human, we eliminate it because we are the creators. We're the ones that's truly in control. You just never knew it, and you're always manipulated. Your creative abilities have been used against you. No more will humans need to flounder in ambivalence and conflicting directives. No more will free will run amok. If we all knew who we are and what to do with it. No more will humans be fooled by their own illusory creations. They will at last be able to judge not, for they will hear the one true judge, the feelings which speak the wisdom of the Spirit. Your emotions are key to everything. We have always had this capability. A few have become aware of it, and now the rest of us can and will as well. From here, new worlds can begin to open to humans as institutionalized limitations are completely removed. New levels of consciousness can be attained, new creative worlds, new creative levels of joy. Human potential has many surprises awaiting those that answer the challenge of spirit. This truly is an invitation to the inaugural ball. The great thing is, we don't even have to get all dressed up to go, unless, of course, you just wish to. Not only can tremendous benefits be achieved, but equally devastating disasters can actually be averted. That's how powerful we are. That's how magnificent we are. The technological abilities of humans have outstripped their understanding of themselves. Resistance, competition, and suffering are now the accepted norm. Without self-understanding, the basic yet maladaptive responses of self-preservation will continue. Evolution will be tremendously impeded, as well as the ominous possibility for the self-destructive demise of the realizations which instigated nuclear disarmament. The light cannot help but spread if chosen and obtained and lived within by each individual. My wish is that peace be with us. We're talking about possibilities here, and the limitations to those possibilities are merely self-created, just as the potential of such is self-created. We are creators, each and every one of us, all of us, whether we're good or bad. We're creators. If you're human, you're a creator. You were made in the Creator's image. You're a piece of the Creator. Where two or more are gathered is a quote from the Bible. Is where a spark can become a flame that, while burning off our counterproductive beliefs, can also allow us to become truly unlimited beings of creation. To activate the machine, To choose the light is to completely accept the fact that the Creator endowed humans with inner guidance. It is to live the truth that the wisdom of God is not limited to holy texts or other external dictates, but to know that it is possessed within. You are the temple of God. You are the church. The Creator's purest word exists in nature, and any human translation is less than pure. Human nature is no exception. The answers lie within. This message has always been inherent in every great teaching and teacher, albeit lost within cultural and religious distortions. When I say to you that I am here to finish Jesus' message, I mean exactly that. Cultural institutions have always felt compelled to squelch the fact in order to maintain control over its members, fearful that without the control, there would be chaos. Out of touch with their own true nature and presuming everyone in their environment was as well, those suspected of being otherwise were eliminated for the threat that they were perceived to be. However, the cat's now out of the bag, so to speak. There's communication going on right now that can no longer control or be controlled or even successfully monitored. There are phone lines nearly everywhere, and this is a positive virus that cannot be contained. But what has always been missing from such teachings has been exactly how to listen and react to this inner wisdom. It is through the feeling system, the emotions, that this is accomplished. It is through the feelings that the spirit can inform, develop, and correct the mind. It is through understanding this difference between automatic self-preservationary motivations to fight or take flight and the rational, willful choice of right and light responses. It is through understanding of universal human needs and in designing of political, religious, educational, economic, and even social institutions which accept, value, and honor and even accommodate them. This is why we are beginning to feel the influence of the female perspective as we move into this spiritual progression and evolution. The male, the psychologically, the more dominant left brain logical thinker has always tended to turn away from the feeling portions of our nature. It's been labeled as unmanly. For men, this new paradigm will be the most challenging to overcome. And it's understanding that this will be a barrier to them. But you are not excluded just because you're a man. Meditation can likely be a most helpful way of getting around this for men and many women, if for no other reason than it has a positive effect on one's physical health, while opening up centers of understanding that currently lie dormant and ignored. The Creator intended for humans to use the system to retain the connection with the spirit of all that is, to be guided toward the most fulfilled and joyous experience possible. Human joy is the Creator's joy. Human suffering is also experienced by the same universal spirit. Its expanding consciousness, its joy and light urge humans to eliminate these dark spots that they have willfully, albeit accidentally or through trickery, created. Despite the priceless value, the only cost is the true commitment to spirit itself, which sounds very simple to say, but is much harder to actually do. And I understand that. But I also have the answers and the ease of attainment to be spiritual, walk in your spirituality, embrace your spirituality on a daily basis, and still be a very quote unquote normal human being. It's not kumbaya and rainbows and puppy dog tails. It's not always easy until we all embrace it. And then it will become very easy for all of us. Much of what I've already mentioned is really pertinent for you to perhaps go back over. And that's exactly why I'm writing the book as well, so that you can have this in your possession to reflect back on when necessary. It's very important that you perceive this clearly. We have a spiritual directive that we would now ignore at our own peril. Ignoring this divine invitation would not lead to our demise, but rather it would be like turning down an invitation to the most important party or the most important election and choosing to stay at home and be alone and not participate. It's still going to happen the way that it's supposed to. That's why I mentioned the numbers earlier of the different people that are here and the people that have this knowledge. It'll still unfold according to the divine plan. But it's up to us to decide how well that plan happens. So for people who want to say that God's got this, yeah, God's got this. You're right. But if you could own what God gave you for free the day you were born and use it, this could really turn out great for us instead of just good. And it would certainly make God very proud of you and me. And it would also make you very proud of yourself and give yourself that sense of self-worth and true pride and true joy in loving yourself for who you really are that you were always told you shouldn't have. What a gift. What a beautiful win-win gift all the way around. So the spiritual commitment, learning the mechanics of the feeling communication system is the first and the primary step. Learning to know thyself, learning to love thyself, learning to forgive thyself the way you would love and forgive others, and learn to know them better than they know themselves, you know. Invest that into you. Understanding alone can allow the natural spiritual impetus to become dominant within each individual. In understanding their needs and the inevitable self-preservationary impulses, each person can become aware of their own habits of thought and action and correct them. They can recognize those activities that truly bring fulfillment as distinct from those that seek refuge from misunderstood feelings, signals. They can identify destructive need-meeting strategies that will surely arise if constructive ones are not available. They will enjoy a whole new awareness of life. And that's a fact and a promise. This seems to be an appropriate time to insert the following. Watch your thoughts. They become words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character, because it becomes your destiny and your fate. When we can see the connection between our thoughts and our destiny, we experience greater motivation toward paying attention to what we think. It would seem that there are no accidents, just consequences. This same principle could presumably apply to one's feelings. But awareness alone is not only, is only half the battle, and perhaps the easy half. It falls to the individual to act upon the spiritual impetus. This requires the commitment to actively choose and carry out the optimal corrective responses that are desired by spirit. And by that, I mean your consciousness, your conscience is always giving you feedback. Every action, every deed, every word, everything that you do and say and experience in a day, your conscience is telling you how you should react. But your ego is also talking. And you know right from wrong. We all do. We innately know right from wrong. Time to start separating the two and filtering out the ego. The difference between thought and spirit is often attraction. By what we think, I believe we bring into our reality those experiences that provide the opportunity to expand our perspective of them. Often those experiences are not pleasant, but they should always be considered educational. There's a lesson in everything we do, everything we experience. This will be a difficult directive to fully embrace for some, given the historical dependence upon external codes, rules, counsel, and advice. As always, there will be an automatic tendency to preserve your own ideas or belief systems that have become comfortable strategies for you. Remember, the cultural self is born of human knowledge, and all parts of self will seek preservation. One's very identity is often shrouded within beliefs outside of the spiritual intention. There will be an automatic tendency to escape painful learning experiences, which may be necessary for self-development and soul growth. There will be an automatic tendency for groups of people of like mind to band together and stand against and hold tight to their beliefs, even if they are limiting instead of offering broader opportunity. This can culminate in the urge to fight and even to die as martyrs, or what you would wish to call them, for certain traditional ideals. It's that threatening. Governments and religious institutions have known this for a long time and have repeatedly used it to keep groups loyal and to war against each other and divide and conquer where appropriate. Thus, there is a certain commitment to divine intention that will take courage and great strength to unravel the many distortions that exist as truths within the realm of your mind. It will take tenacity to handle those powerful emotional responses that will expose your deepest, most enduring, cherished, yet spiritually undesirable beliefs. Take a close look at the people in the world who are suffering in poverty, fear, and ignorance. Those whose lives are being manipulated beyond their awareness. Those whose only escape is often retreating into a mental institution or even through physical death. All these consequential realities are the result of an unawareness of accepted mindsets that destroy us from within while punishing us from without. But this intensity will surely abate as progress is made. There will also be verification from spirit every step of the way that will resonate, validate, and reward the committed efforts with joyous feelings. This commitment marks the step up from an animalistic competitive consciousness into the human spiritual cooperative of all that is. It is several giant steps away from the door of the cave where humankind now huddles. Oddly, we look back upon caveman culture as being primitive when compared to our technological advances that we find ourselves in today. Yet when it comes to our spiritual advancement, there are Aboriginal cultures that are far more in touch and far more advanced with the natural laws of their environment than we could ever hope or dream to be. In fact, they refer to their state of being as dream time. This commitment will ensure that the person will then be replaced upon a lifelong track of self-development and expression, which is the goal of the spirit, the true goal. This is highly rewarding. This is a highly rewarding track to be upon, but it requires courage and a faith in the inner messages, a real faith and a real ear to listen, particularly in the belief that the inner messages should always take precedence over external ones. When in doubt, you can find validation by identifying which spiritual need is being fulfilled by any belief or action. For if one strategy satisfies one need without validating another, then that action or belief is valid and good in the highest spiritual sense. We read stories about people who say that they've heard a voice that directed them to go out and shoot their mother-in-law, and so they did. Tempting as that may be at times for some, the guiding principle has to be no, do no harm. Any inner voice that is spiritual in origin will adhere to that guideline. Living in the light. We can now distill the understandings into a daily living scenario, which can be beneficial in bringing them down from the abstract realm for immediate application. Each day forward can be life in the light as opposed to the previous flashes within the relative darkness of ignorance, self-preservation, and misdirected energy, creating events that mirror the limits of mass consciousness rather than those that are desired by spirit. A deliberate daily strategy wherein ration and passion combine to direct and create life events that'll accomplish the maximum growth and fulfillment for self and all. Progress on this plane begins when awareness evolves into action. But what usually follows this awareness are the windows of opportunity. Once we begin to act upon these windows with sincere intent, the feedback consequence becomes reinforceable. As humans awaken each morning, they do so to a newly created world. They slip from one probability to the next without so much as a blink. As consciousness expands, it will become apparent how very much control each has over the creation of the desired events in one's life and how they choose to actualize one probability over another. Certain thoughts should be reinforced, such as, I create my own reality, and my spirit will guide me. If we still have doubts about our abilities to create our own reality, a little reflection upon our lives can provide the opportunity to see much of the consequences of our past actions, both in the positive things, experiences that we have created, as well as those negative things and experiences that we have also created. We might be tempted to attribute much to luck or chance, but in doing so, would be less than honest with ourselves. Each morning should be faced with reflection upon where one's life is going and how to get there faster today. Knowing that yesterday is gone and having been mined for its wisdom, that the power is in the present and nothing from the past can in and of itself reduce it. Only belief in limitation can limit one. Humans can actually split apart from their past and recreate it in the present with more supportive interpretations and beliefs about it. Remember that the mind has many unrecognized faucets and tools, all of which can support spirit or can limit it with misuse. One of the characteristics of this era is the newfound awareness that many of us will be experiencing. The awareness that our minds are full of dormant tools that can be brought into focus on the many opportunities to grow spiritually. As these opportunities increase in number, our physical reality and our relationships will begin to reflect this. We will eventually look back upon this period as the most accelerated aspect of our lives. And I mean like quantum leaps, accelerated. Before actually arising, it is suggested that humans harmonize to the spirit by engaging in a two-way communication. This creates clarity and communion through focused attunement. As the mind slows its vibration from dream consciousness into the hypnotic nether realm before fully awakening, much work can be done. The mind is most receptive and least affected by beliefs in this realm. Lucid communication is a natural process in which the emotions, the messages, and the interactions from the dream realm allow the mind to intuit certain knowledge and ideas that can bolster the spirit's goals. Conversely, after listening to the wisdom offered, one can then answer and communicate individual intention back to spirit. These are the nuts and bolts of creative reality. Creativity is a two-way street, an interaction process. While people who talk to themselves are considered by most in our society to be a bit loony, to say the least, consider this: who is better acquainted with us than ourselves? We can truly be our best friend. Considering that we talk to our pets and are usually satisfied with the responses we receive, communicating with ourselves should be no great leap. In fact, the better we come to understand ourselves, the better we will likely grow to understand our pets and even the people around us, and probably in that order. Unbeknownst to humans, they create quite undesirable events by concentrating the powerful will energy of emotion upon beliefs and projections which they fear. Since emotion is the two-way language of spirit, everything operates as if humans are purposely choosing such events. The spirit does nothing to alter the process in any way. It simply creates that which is concentrated upon and bathed in emotion. This is where that saying, be careful what you wish for, comes from. And mind your thoughts. The spirit does not judge. However, through the emotion which will accompany the events and experiences when they are manifested in physical reality. To counteract these unconscious directions of power that inevitably occur throughout the day, one must actively, consciously refocus the will energy upon exactly what one's desires are. Mind your thoughts. Mine your thoughts the way you would mine for gold. Sift through it, right? This latter can be a challenge, particularly when so many of us have been programmed with belief systems that encourage us to expect some kind of divine punishment on a regular basis, as well as a savior to come and save us. Many have been taught that the God of their belief system is constantly testing them with punishments and rewards, and they believe that whatever happens to them or those around them is simply part of this ritual and not at all related to the belief system they surrender their will energy to. This is accompanied through visualization of detailed images regarding each of the major life areas, empowering the vision with emotional will energy. Each of the following visuals will be flooded with positive, joyous feelings of gratitude, as if they have already been actualized. That's the key. The energy communicates to the spirit what your mind intends to create and is a critical, essential ingredient in creating physical events. The powerfully focused joy energy, can negate other fearful images that arise and are mistaken for desired events. As you progress through the categories, upon completion, allow each one to ascend into a universal consciousness, letting it go, knowing that it will have made its mark. Just like when I tell people to go out and effectively part the storm to keep it from hitting them, to make it go around them, you have to do it with a knowing that it works. It's already done. The minute your knife hits the dirt and you yell, part the storm, it is done. So mote it be. It is done. That's a little earth magic that my Native American family taught me, by the way. Parting storms. We can also make it rain. We can also deflect tornadoes and asteroids and etc. We are amazing. We just don't realize it. Okay. Visualization is such a powerful yet generally unrecognized tool in our toolbox of our creative arsenal. That utilization of it requires more practice and familiarity than any other habit of thought to which we are yet to be exposed. To be able to visualize that it's already done is everything. It's everything. So if you can't visualize, you need to take some of my classes to learn how to do that. You need to contact me, email me, whatever, and we will teach you. I will teach you how to visualize. So next, yeah, I think we've went on long enough. So for the next video, we're going to go through a daily meditation. The meditation of the clock, mindful meditation, daily feedback, yeah, and then the closing of knowing thyself. I mentioned the website. I need to work on it. It's kind of chaotic there. I haven't been there for months to do any work to fix it better. So it literally is like under construction at this time. But nevertheless, if you can't find a session or class or whatever that you're specifically looking for, please email me. I'm easily obtainable. Um, my email address is on just about everything I do. Um, and all of my social media links are always in my videos. So, I'm very easily accessible. That's what I was trying to say when I said obtainable. This Mercury retrograde, it's got me. Ugh. But yeah, if you're looking for something specific that you can't find on the website, just hit me up. Um, I'd be glad to help you in any way, shape, or form I can. Because, guys, we got to do this. We're running out of time to do this big league, right? If we want this to happen like hugely, we need to be like kicking our asses in high gear and getting this done. Okay. So I love you. Many blessings to you for watching my videos. Um, again, hit me up if you need anything at all. I'm going to be continuing to post more lessons on YouTube for free, um, as well as writing my books and getting them out to the masses just as soon as I can. So, yeah, may the spirits shine on you and may you learn to know yourself. And until next time, be well and be blessed. And don't forget to be grateful. Bye, guys.